Welcome to Lessons from the Cockpit. I'm Belinda Sandor. Let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome to Lessons from the Cockpit. I'm thrilled you're here with me today. For those of you joining us for the first time, I'm Belinda Sandor. I'm the founder of the VA Connection, where I coach and mentor established and aspiring virtual assistants. And I work with my students in my free online community, my courses, and my coaching programs. And today I'm going to be your host for Lessons from the Cockpit, which is my weekly live stream show that airs every Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. So come on in, and I'd love to see who's here. So Frederica is here. So everybody, let me know you're here. Let me know what's going on. So today we're going to talk about pricing. We're going to talk about discounts. We're going to talk about Black Friday, because I know that's on some of your minds. And we're going to get really clear on that, because it can be confusing. And I know that for some of us, when it comes to money and pricing and all the things, there's definitely some anxiety that goes along with that. And we're gonna cut through that. Okay, good. So Tammy's here from Minnesota. Hello, hello, hello. All right, so let me know where you're coming in from. And we are streaming on Facebook, LinkedIn. We are on Twitter. We are on YouTube. And if you are not a subscriber to our channel, please subscribe and ring the bell so that you'll be notified. You'll be notified every time we go live. We do free trainings every single week. All right, good. And like I said, today we're going to talk about pricing. We're going to talk about Black Friday. We're going to talk about all things fee related as a virtual assistant. Okay, good. So first I want to introduce myself to you. And I want you to know that if you're someone who's struggling with what to do in the next chapter of your life, this is something that you're likely going to be able to relate to. This is me and my daughter, Emily, back in 2010. And at the time, I was really struggling with what was going to be next. I was also struggling with what did I want, because I had been doing, the following the path to life that everybody, talks about, get married, have a baby, buy a house, all the things. And I wasn't going in the right direction. Everything was sort of falling apart. I had a business that had really failed very publicly and financially. I didn't have a job. I had a ton of debt. I was about to turn 50. I'm in an unhappy marriage. It's like, what the heck is going on here? And so I wasn't even living paycheck to paycheck. It was more like really moment to moment, and the worst part about it was that I didn't see the way out. And that was difficult. That was really difficult. And so I decided I was going to try to get a job, because that's what I always did, right? But the problem was, it's like the whole world changed while I was running this business for 8 or 9 years. And I had gotten older. And the last time I had searched for a job, I was 35. And the job world is very different for a 35-year-old than it is someone that's just about to turn 50. And I know some of you have experienced that. And so virtual assistants became really the ideal path for me to work around that, to use the skills that I already had and to get paid to do so in a way that really made sense for me. And when I first started getting discouraged, how I got the idea of working on my own is that I started temping. So I started working for other people. I worked for an agency, and the employers would come to the agency and say, I need someone to replace our receptionist for 3 days. She's going on vacation. And I would get, sort of posts like that. And I would go, get on the bus, get in the train, wherever, and, go into downtown Boston, and I would work. And I loved it. I loved getting paid. I loved being, what's the word I want to use? I loved making a difference. I loved contributing. That's what I wanted to say. I loved contributing to these people who were hiring me. But I didn't really love the whole commute thing, and the other thing was, I didn't want to share how much I was getting paid. So what I mean by that is the agency takes a cut, right? Just like Upwork and Fiverr and all those. I wanted to go direct because I wanted to keep all of the fees myself, whatever people were willing, well, actually, no, I'm not going to say that. It's not what people are willing to pay. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. It was earning how much I wanted to make, right? It was earning how much I wanted to make without the commute, giving me the time flexibility to be with Emily. And so I'm thinking about this, I'm percolating on it, it's running around in my head. And then I'm at the school bus stop and one of the dads, Will, says to me, what's new? I tell him about this idea. And he became my first client. And, it was funny. And I say this a lot, but I know you guys can relate to this. If I had known that he had quit his job and was starting a company, I probably wouldn't have told him, because my chicken chatter is they're going to think they want something from them. They're going to think I want something from them. And that was my chicken chatter at the time. That was just running the show all the time. And because I thought he had a job, I told him, right? I thought he was the CEO of something. And so we met, he hired me, I paid his bills. I installed software on computers. I ran errands for him. I went to the post office. I set his QuickBooks up, and that was great. That was great. And then my next client I met at a wedding, and the point, a wedding reception. And the point here is that you can't predict where you're going to meet your clients. What you want to do is get out in the world, spread the word far and wide, and people will come to you for help. Now, there's a very specific system to doing this, and I teach that in VA school. But it's important to know that this business is not about prospecting, cold calling, convincing people to hire you. It's not about any of that at all. Okay. So, all right. I want to jump in to this. I want to jump in a little further here into the story, because I think it's important. So what happened is, I'm doing my work. I'm working some virtual. I'm working some in person, and that's fine with me. But then in 2012, I met my husband. I re-met him, actually. We went to high school together. I went to a reunion, re-met him. Now he's, well, you can see he's pretty cute, but he's also the nicest man on the planet. And he was exactly what the man I've been looking for since I was 20. I'm not kidding. And so he lives 164 miles away, and he has a job in New York City. So he's commuting into the city, an hour and 15 minutes each way. There's no way he has the bandwidth to keep flying or driving up to Boston to see me. And he did make some trips, but after a while, it became apparent that if this was going to work, I was going to need to be doing the traveling. And so that started. And the first step for me was getting everything in the cloud, moving all of my clients to 100% virtual. And that's really when I became a virtual assistant. I just didn't know the term yet. And so everything went into the cloud. And what happened is, as I grew my business, a ripple effect occurred where people started telling others about my work. I built a nice big business with six-figure income every single year, and was working with 30, 40, up to 50 clients at a time, doing work that I loved wherever I wanted. And I just got off of a Zoom call with one of my current students, and she is going to be RVing full time with her husband. And Greg and I we've thought about that. We decided to buy a farm instead, but that's possible. That's 100% possible without a question. And you really are location independent, and it's important to know that. And so this is the farm. This is the farm here. And that was our wedding day, by the way, with all of our kids. But because of this lifestyle freedom, and because Greg got a job working remote, I've been able to work with hundreds of entrepreneurs, made more than $1 million in 10 years. And I now help people just like you do exactly the same thing. And, from the beginning, Greg and I dreamed about owning a home, and it seemed like such a huge, in the future, hard to imagine, hard to even wrap my brain around how we would do it. And we figured it out, And I didn't follow the plan, in the end. I had my daughter when I was 40. I started, my VA business at 50, and I married Greg at 60, and it's not too late. And we bought this home at 63. It's not too late, but you have to start thinking about yourself as a successful business owner. And you have to start making decisions and choices from that place. And one of the key things that we're going to talk about right now is how you bill and how you charge for your services. All right. All right, so let's say hello. So we said hello to Frederica and Tammy. Jane has joined us, and George, Annalisa, Heather is here, Maureen, and Daphne. And I can see a bunch more of you. It looks like we've got a whole bunch at the VA Connection and several of you over on YouTube. So that's awesome. All right, now, when you start your VA business, it's difficult to know how much to charge, right? It's difficult to know. And there's such a wide range of possibility, and it can be really nerve-wracking, right? We hear about people charging $3 and $5 an hour. Then I'm telling you, I charge $90 an hour, and it's like, you know, where do I fit in there, right? Where do I fit in there? And so I want to talk about Black Friday for a minute, and then we're going to dive in a little bit deeper into pricing. But you know, here's the thing that happens when we start our own business. I don't know why this happens, but we start looking for shortcuts, right? And I'm the same. I'm the same. I just eventually realized that the shortcut is the long cut. So I just stopped looking for it. But I used to think, okay, like if I offer a Black Friday special, maybe the 10 people who I've talked to who are on the fence will jump in and I'll be off to the races. Okay. And it doesn't happen that way. You know, I've had so many people even say to me, I'm going to tell everyone I know, I'm going to bring you to my networking group and I'm going to introduce you to everyone. And I think this is it. This is it. This is how it all changes. And this is how I make all the money and I get really busy all at once. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. It really is about building relationships, reaching out to people and creating, you know, and creating that system for systematically staying in touch with people. And so by spending time being strategic about anything besides networking and spreading the word about your business, it really is just slowing the process down. So Black Friday, you know, it's interesting because every year I would think, am I being a fool? Like, am I being a fool? So for those of you who don't know, I should probably say this. Black Friday is the day after American Thanksgiving when people put stuff on sale and it's just super, super cheap, right? So like people shop all night long. You can get TVs and computers and all kinds of things much less expensive. They put it on sale, right? And so it makes sense as a business owner, like I should put me on sale, right? But I don't want you to do that because here's what's actually happening. And you're going to see it. You're going to see virtual assistants, probably some you even know, all over the place offering these discounts. But here's the thing. When you do that, you're telling the world you're a commodity, right? You're a commodity. And instead of creating professional relationships with people looking for VAs, you boil your value down to price as a differentiator. You don't want that to happen. You want your skill, your expertise, your personality, your business style, like all the other things to be the differentiator, not the price. You don't want that to be the thing that people buy your time. And can you see that? Like, you know, you don't choose a doctor based on how much they cost. You don't choose, well, maybe a lawyer. I'm joking, but kind of not really. But my point is that you want, there's certain people you want to work with, and it doesn't really matter how much they're charging. And so don't discount yourself, because the other thing is that when you do that, you're telling people your prices are negotiable. So what's to stop them from asking for a discount later? Now they might do that anyway, but don't introduce this concept of you're available at a lesser price than your fee. Okay. And here's the other thing is you're creating a red flag, right? You're creating a red flag because here's the thing. When a prospect starts the conversation all about money, the relationship has never worked out well for me. And I'm sure that's true for many of you as well, because it's about the price and not the relationship. And you want this to be about the relationship. So Black Friday just really boils down. It boils down to, creating this concept of discounts, making yourself a commodity and not the professional that you want to be. And what's interesting is that, the truth is that as I've raised my rates over the years, I've actually attracted clients that are better for me and that fit me. And what's interesting is at $50 an hour, my clients, a lot of them couldn't afford me. It wasn't high enough to $50 an hour was not high enough to attract the A-level players that I wanted to play with. So I had to create my business and think like an A-level player, meaning, be professional, take care of my business, act like a service provider, and not someone's, what did I call it, a side hustle helper. You really want to behave as a professional, and this is a really important area here, your pricing. And the more I raised my rates, the less my clients worried about the time I was spending, the less they were concerned about it, the fewer questions they asked. It really is very interesting. So the other thing that I want to talk about is, and so hopefully I've talked you out of the Black Friday discount. Okay, so don't do that, even though I guarantee there is probably someone in your life that's going to say, you should do this. Don't do that. Okay, don't do that. Don't introduce the concept of negotiations, discounts, all the things. I promise you, you don't want that. Now, the other thing that people worry about is that people won't pay their hourly rate because of where they live. Okay, and I know that we have students all over the world, and the truth is that where you are doesn't have anything to do with it, because likely your clients are not all going to be local. I lived in Boston, I lived right outside of Boston, I lived in Connecticut, and now I live in really rural Virginia. And I didn't adjust my pricing based on where I'm located. And if you're doing your networking online and in person, and you're reaching out to everyone you know in your life, likely you're going to have people all over the country, and maybe all, sprinkled throughout the world. And so where you are really has nothing to do with it. So really, I want you to let go of that concept. Okay. Now, everyone is not going to say yes to your rate 100%. And I would say that with the over 200 clients I worked with, I probably had over 600 discovery calls. So more people said no than said yes, or maybe, I said no to many of them. So I wasn't a fit. And what I offered wasn't a fit for more than, twice as many people I was a fit. But that's okay, because I had plenty of billable work, was making the money that I wanted. And so I didn't get bogged down in who wasn't working with me. I celebrated who was working with me. And, it's funny, some time ago, someone asked me, they said to me, do you ever get pushback on your rates? And, and I said, not really, because I don't ask it as a question. I don't ask the client what their budget is. It doesn't matter what their budget is. I stand firm in my pricing. And people have said to me, I had a client, but she didn't turn out to be a client, but I had someone in a discovery call. When I told her that I charged $90 an hour, she said, that's on the high end. And you know what I said? I said, you're right. It's true. Like, I didn't start singing and dancing, right? I didn't do any of that. I said, you're right. And I'm not a good fit for everyone. And then I stopped talking, right? I stopped talking. I didn't try to figure out, how much she could spend, and you can get creative. It might be that you could talk to the potential client about doing part of the work or assisting in some way, but you don't want to lower your hourly rate. Okay, you don't want to do that. Yeah, it's important. All right, so some other people have joined us. Hello to everybody. Renita's here, and Milan is here as well from Bangladesh. All right, so important topic. Just know that the most effective way to get the clients coming to you is to spread the word, get out there, and they will come. They will come, absolutely. But don't make price a differentiator. Okay. All right. Good. And it's funny. It's sometimes I hear the voice in my head, well, that's easy for you to say, because now, you are making $90 an hour and blah, blah, blah. Now you have choices. But the reason that I have those choices is because I stuck to my guns. It's interesting. That's just how it works. That's just how it works. And we think it's the other way around. And it's not. It's not. Good. All right. So yeah. So Maureen says this is great. When I was in college, my professional business fraternity, Phi Chi Theta, brought in a speaker who said when he applied for college, he kept getting rejection letter after rejection letter, and he posted them on the wall. Yeah. 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 It's like you have to realize that the no's get you to the yes. The no's get you to the yes, but it doesn't mean that you have to change anything about what you're, necessarily about what you're doing. Good. So for some of you, you are new to the VA Connection, and I want to make sure that you are part of our Facebook community. So go up to the search bar on Facebook and type in the VA Connection.com, the virtual assistant connection.com. And George says, no Black Friday sales for VAs. You're going to see them. Just wait. You're going to see them. They're going to be all over LinkedIn. You're probably going to get an email from somebody. You'll definitely see them on Facebook, but just say no to Black Friday sales for sure. And come on over to our Facebook group and join us. I'd love to have you. We have all kinds of events going on every week, all about virtual assistants. All right. Thank you for joining me today for Lessons from the Cockpit on this really important topic. And I will see you next week. Bye for now.